grateful to all of you for being here. All right, I'm going to make this brief. I have more to say about my mom than can be allotted for in this time. To say she was a wonderful human being is a gross understatement, and everybody who knew my mom was blessed. My mom, like her mom, my grandmother, was somebody who loved to laugh and smile, and it wasn't hard to make her laugh and smile because that was her natural state. Her natural state was a state of happiness and smiling and showing her pretty pearly whites. Words fail me, but I would like to quote what perhaps is one of the most quotable parts of the Bible that I guess is usually read more often at weddings, from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. It's a description of love, but it's also perhaps the most accurate description of my mother. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. I think that's perhaps the most accurate description of my mom. I found it really hard to narrow down a couple of anecdotes to share because her whole life was an act of love and service to God, to others. And I believe her long, slow decline into dementia went unnoticed for a long time because she never became mean the way so many people do when they get scared, when they're losing their thoughts. She remained, sweet as molasses till the very end. And even at the very end, when she was in pain or very afraid because she didn't understand what was happening, she was never unkind and never said anything ugly to anyone. And when she was too weak to speak, she would still often try to respond to people and mouth that she loved them too when somebody told her that they loved her. No sound would come out, but she would say, "I love you too." And I'm not even certain she always knew who was saying it to her. She had a fairly legitimate fear of driving on freeways in Dallas. But one time my car broke down in Bee Bayou, Louisiana, which is a good 7 or 8 hours from here. And I called my mom on a payphone to tell her, and she was there in about 4 hours.
Wow.
My big regret about that is that I wish I could have seen my tiny little meek mother with a determined face driving 90 on She also went way above and beyond the call of duty as a grandmother. She helped me tremendously in raising and caring for my daughter, as I know she has done with Anne's children as well. She's been boundlessly giving of her time and affection with us, and she never hinted at all that it might have been inconvenient, although I know sometimes it must have been. But I think she genuinely rather would have helped us with our children than to know that we were being inconvenienced. More than once I would try to thank her, and she would say, "There's nothing more important than shaping a little life." So many babies in this city have been held and kissed by my mother, and I think she has shaped a great many little lives, my sister and I included. She loved to talk, and I'll always cherish, in my adult life, our long speaking of talking, our, our long phone conversations and late night talks when she was visiting. And as Anne said, she was an amazing listener and friend. And I would also quickly like to read the St. Francis prayer because I think it also describes my mother very adequately. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace, that where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, let me bring pardon. Where there is doubt, let me bring faith. Where there is despair, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, let me bring light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant today that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console. Let me not seek to be understood as to understand. Let me not seek to be loved, but to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in forgiving that we are forgiven, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Thank you all for being here. I know she would have loved all the flowers, and wherever there were flowers involved, she would always comment on them. And several times throughout this process, I've wanted to hear my mom's comments on the flowers. But I'm grateful she isn't suffering anymore, and she has planted so many good memories in my heart and all of our hearts, and provided me the most amazing example of how to be to one another as a parent and friend. I love her, and I know all of us do, and we can feel blessed today and hereafter knowing that she loves us too.